There is a very good chance, a strong probability that before we get to the actual voting of the 2024 election, Donald Trump could in fact be bankrupt. Now, I know you're saying, but he's a billionaire. How could this billionaire suddenly go bankrupt between now and November? Well, the answer to that's actually quite simple. Donald Trump already owes E. Jean Carroll $5 million for the first defamation lawsuit. We're wrapping up the second defamation lawsuit, where they are now seeking $10 million plus punitive damages. And based on the fact that Donald Trump has actually not stopped defaming E. Jean Carroll since the trial began, I mean, Thursday morning, before he went to court, he fired off more than 30 angry posts on Truth Social about E. Jean Carroll. And those are all like being brought up in court, by the way. So the jury knows all of this is happening. And even though they're seeking $10 million in compensatory damages, punitive damages, according to legal experts, could total into the 9-figure realm. So 9 figures, do the math, that's more than $100 million. There's also the possibility, by the way, the lawyers have kind of hinted that there may be a third defamation trial because of some of the horrific things Donald Trump has said about E. Jean Carroll since this trial began. So, if the jury hits Donald Trump with punitive damages totaling in the hundreds of millions of dollars, obviously that's a big problem. Pardon me. Another problem Trump has, people may have forgotten about it because the E. Jean Carroll trial is kind of taking up a lot of oxygen right now. But let's not forget that Judge Arthur Engoron wants to give his decision in the New York fraud trial before the end of the month. Well, that's just a couple of days away now, isn't it? So we could literally be looking at an Engoron decision any minute now. And that one could be well over $300 million plus the dissolution of Donald Trump's businesses. So Donald Trump could be looking at anywhere between $300 and let's say maybe up to $500 million just from these 2 civil lawsuits. Trump, according to the best estimates out there, nobody knows for sure, so these are just estimates, is worth about $2.6 billion. But let's not forget, and this was actually brought up in the New York fraud trial, that doesn't mean that Donald Trump has a bank account with $2.6 billion in it. That's the total of all of his assets. So if he were to get hit between these 2 trials for $300 million, $400, $500 million, does he have that much money sitting in the bank right now? Well, the prosecutors in New York already told us, no, he doesn't. He doesn't have this kind of cash. Donald Trump is asset rich, but cash poor. Meaning that $2.6 billion or whatever his net worth may be, it's not because he's sitting on, piles of cash or jumping into a coin vault like Scrooge McDuck. It means he owns a lot of property that's worth a lot of money. Therefore, in order to pay off these lawsuits, Donald Trump's only path forward may be to declare bankruptcy. Now, that's not going to protect him from having to pay. What's likely going to happen is that the courts would take over his properties, sell them in a bit of what's called a fire sale just to get rid of them, to get the cash immediately, and Trump would be left with nothing. That net worth would no longer be considered in the billions. It may not even be considered in the millions. So Trump is at risk of losing everything. And he could, in fact, be bankrupt before we hit the 2024 election. Ring of Fire is just a few subscribers short of hitting that 1 million subscriber milestone. So if you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and do so and stay up to date with all of the latest from Ring of Fire.